Hello fellow YouTubers, I am making this video to document the problem I've had with my Savage 110 package rifle with AccuTrigger from Wally World. The problem I have had is that the receiver has been machined poorly. Namely, the scope mount holes were drilled off center. So I am hoping to cover here a few things to look for when purchasing this rifle, and hopefully you will not have the same problem. First thing I would look for is sliding the bolt back, looking at how it lines up with the seam in the stock here. My first rifle, when you pull the bolt back, it cocked off a little bit to the left. The barrel was touching the fore end of the stock as if everything was cocked off to the left. This rifle's been sent back. They replaced the receiver, sent it back to me, and as you can see, this thing sits in the center. You can tell just lining up the center of the bolt with that seam, assuming that this seam is in the center, seems to be on. Second thing you want to try to look for is, get this situated, take a dollar bill or a bill of some sort and try to slide that bill underneath the corners of the scope mounts. If it's machined off, these scope mounts will not sit flush with the top of a round receiver, and they'll be up off of the receiver on one side or the other. The original rifle, this side here in the back, these rear holes were off, and this rear mount did not even fully seat on the receiver itself. This is the repaired rifle, of course, and the problem with this one is on the front. Hope you can tell there that bill can slide under the corner of that receiver, or that base mount. Reason it is doing that on this one is that this front hole, the front tapped hole here where the mount screw goes, is either not tapped deep enough, or there was a boogered up thread and it will not fully seat. And you can tell by looking, just look at the bolt heads and how each one is recessed in the mount. This one is flush with the top of the mount. The other three are recessed a few thousandths. And when you loosen, take everything off, loosen this rear one, and the front one is not even bottomed out in the base. So, if you don't buy a package rifle, you're going to have to check the hole alignments by putting screws in halfway, a few threads in, taking a metal straight edge like such, lining it up on the hole of bolts and making sure they all touch and that straight edge is in line with the barrel. You can do the same thing by just running a straight edge down the center of the barrel, seeing if the bolt holes are in line. It is fairly hard to tell though. Other problems I've had with this, and again this has been repaired once, and that is, one, this little pin is right here. There's a pin that holds in a spring, little retaining pin. This bolt head is the same bolt head from the previous rifle. I'm assuming this has been changed because this is apparently machined to the receiver, and probably can't see it, but there is peen marks on the top of this thing, and it looks like a little kid tried to drive that pin out. That's by a Savage gunsmith. Another problem is and you probably can't see it because this is a very poor camera, but it's all I got, and I have to get this thing in the mail to send it back again. The back of the receiver here, there is swirly tooling marks all over it. Savage boasts about their machining processes and their tooling, and it is not shining through here. The other rifle had similar marks on the top of the receiver. Not really a big deal, but doesn't look too good. Another machining problem here was, let's see if I can get this camera in here. Inside the receiver itself, you can see that light scratch in there. It's actually a little raised ridge from the tooling, and that is where the bolt is sliding on. Instead of making full contact with the whole bottom, it's riding on that little ridge right there. Again, probably not too big a deal. It'll probably wear itself in eventually. However, when you look on the back here, you can see evidence of high spots. Cannot see real good with this light, but there is some evidence of high spots on the bottom there. Not very good pictures. Okay. Other machining issues are, and again, not really a huge issue, is just all of the edges in the receiver. You can see this. All the edges on the back, in the front, around, they're all fairly sharp and have, a lot of them have raised ridges where the bolt slides, and it's, wearing off the finish quicker than the other spots. Oh, let's see. Another problem with this was the barrel itself was clocked differently on the gun. This barrel is clocked this way a little bit. The writing on the side is almost down below the plastic. The writing on this side is well above the plastic. And according to Mr. Joe DeGrande, the service manager over there at Savage Arms, that could have been caused because the receiver headspace is different on this particular receiver versus the original one, or apparently they re-roll the threads in the barrel before assembling and possibly did not roll them far enough, and the barrel did not bottom out where it was supposed to, which should have affected headspace, but we'll see when I send it back what he has to say. Now, another point I'd like to touch is UPS shipping. UPS has terrible shipping. This is the box, the outer box the rifle came in when it was shipped back to me from the manufacturer. You can see where the box has been crushed. It has splits and wrinkles all over the sides. Up here. Got a nice ding in it here with a corresponding ding on the actual rifle box that was inside of this one. Another little gouge right there. I've seen worse from UPS, but That's pretty bad. Now, here is the box the rifle came in. There's a ding corresponding to the one on the side of the other box, and plenty of little wrinkles and such in the box where you can see it's been not handled with care. And finally, inside the box, let's see here. This part of the box here, crushed, that's on the inside. Let me try to get this rifle here. That is how the rifle sits in the box. As you can see, one end, scope, barrel end, minus the bipod. There's a cardboard chingaderas that covers the barrel. But here is what I want to see. This is where the scope, this thing was dropped, and that scope whacked that box pretty good. Whether it did any damage, who knows? We will see. This is the new box that was sent to me by Savage, empty, to send the rifle back again. As you can see, it was handled with as much care as the other box. Nice squish, more squishes, no rips or tears, well, just one. Plenty of wrinkles. I don't know if they use this thing for a ramp or what. So this thing's going back in this box, going back to the manufacturer, and hopefully they will take care of the problem, according to Mr. Joe. If what I say to him is true, and the defects that I've told him are true, he will send me a new rifle. And by the way, he made it sound like he was doing me a favor. I bought a new rifle, I should get a new rifle.